Chairman.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember White.
Yes, I want to thank you, Councilman Pinto, for working on this bill. I believe this bill is a small part of a greater solution to what's happening with public safety. It has been neglected for far too long. And again, there is no real plan. And every month or every couple of weeks is something new that we're trying to throw against the wall and hope it stick. I was at the building blocks announcement. I was at the public safety announcement. I believe that if someone continues to break the law, he or she should not be allowed to come back into the community without going through the process of restitution, doing time, or just getting themselves together, for lack of better words. But I do want to note that this is how this legislation started. The legislation started that people were going to jail and coming home. In the data I read in 2023, 64% of those charged with violent crimes were detained. Now, even the percentage that did not get detained, it needs to be addressed. That's what started the crime bill. I just don't want to forget how we got here, right? It is known that early in the late 80s, late 90s, late 90s, early 80s, late 90s, that crack swept through all major cities, especially black communities, right? And when this happened, a lot of men and women went to jail, predominantly African American and Hispanic. And I remember reading a book by Gary Webb called Dark Alliances, and he talked about how the U.S. military was involved, and the guy Roberto Salazar went to jail, right? And to see now that the drugs got flooded into our community, and the solution was the 1994 crime bill to lock them up, and that has crippled our community. I'm a young, well, I consider myself young, African-American male living in one of the poorest, blackest parts of the city. And I know what it did for me and my community. I grew up without a father. None of my siblings had a father in our home. And I look around at my friends, and most of my friends didn't make it because the absence of leadership in our community was incarcerated or dead. I just want to say that we haven't done enough to address public safety in this city. And I say this because I introduced the Anti-Discrimination of Employment for Returning Citizens Act, and it's sitting on the shelf. I introduced a record-sealing expunging bill B24-0110, and it's sitting on the shelf. I introduced a 30-page public safety document in 2017, and it's sitting on the shelf. I introduced a number of measures, including building 6 brand new recreation centers in D.C., and we have not done enough. I look at how much money we spend in the DYRS to lock a kid up. We are spending almost $80 million a year. I just want 1 minute, Chairman.
Without objection, 1 minute.
And when I look at how much we're spending for after-school programs, it's about $75 a day per child. And if I look at the money we spent in the last 5 years, we spent over $400 million to incarcerate our youth. When we look at the money to give them outlets and something healthy to do, it's a drastic comparison to how we spend our money. We put our money where our mouth is. Our budget is a moral document. I consider myself an expert on youth development. And I just know we have not done enough to ensure that we are caring for families and really doing what we need to do to turn public safety around. Prevention looks like stable families, positive role models, mentors, access to capital, careers, jobs, business ownership, a great education, stable housing, and real love for individuals who may not believe in themselves, and good parenting. We have to start holding ourselves and our kids accountable, and we got to get the village model back again. We've become too divided in our community, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. And we really talking about public safety, we need a public safety plan. And until we get that, we'll be here over and over again, throwing something at the wall, hoping to stick. I want to thank you all for working on this bill, and I hope that we don't stop here. We can do more to ensure real public safety in the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember